Give a round of applause, please, for Randolph Victor, who's going to have an introduction on something in terms of ensuring the community is together helping itself. Round of applause, please, for Randolph Victor.
Thank Nigel for that, MBE. Leading me up the garden path to speak. You deserve an Oscar. So, as Nigel said, my name is Randolph Victor. I own and run a company called PRS Yorkshire Limited. It's a printing company, sign and design. Been going since February 1990, so 33 years. What do we do? Well, we work with the local community and we work up and down the country and abroad. And we specialise in the carpet industry, that's our main business. And also we specialise of late in the funeral booklets for our elders, for the young, for people in general, because we started that maybe 15 years ago after I saw what people were putting out there in the churches for their loved ones who were passing away, and it was photocopies, and I thought, it's not good enough, I need to change that. And we have changed that, and we're proud of that as well. So a lot of people ask me how and why did I start in business, and the reason I started in business was not to make millions. That never really floated my boat. The reason I started in business was to be able to have a better life, to help my mother and my father, because I was brought up that way, that to give back, not just to take, but to give back to your parents. Number one, your mother and your father, because then my father told me that I will always do well when you look after your mother and your father. So that's what I did. As soon as I earned a penny, I gave something to my father and my mother. And when I earned 10 pence, I gave them a bit more. And when I earned £1, I gave them a bit more. I wanted to make sure that the biggest achievement I ever did in my life was look after my mother and father before they passed. That's how my father taught me when he came over here. He was always sending money over to the West Indies, and also he brought his mother over through his hard work. So the reason I started in business was to be able to help my father and my mother and to help other people. Because I believe in leaving a legacy on this earth. Not just to come here as a taker, but to give with a good heart. So that's what I've continued to do, because by example, that's what my father did. And in them days, in the 60s, when I was born, our people, our elders, had little parties at home because they couldn't go anywhere else, and the kids got dragged along. As we didn't want to go along, but we got dragged along, so consequently we'd have a party at our house, it would be packed, and food and everything else, and we'd go to somebody else's house, and that's how we used to move about. One bathroom, one kitchen, and we all shared. I can still remember it. I was 3 or 4 before we moved to the next house, which was Apsley Crescent, number 11. That was a 5-bedroom house with 5 West Indian families, African, Jamaican, Dominican, St. Kitts. There was 5 families sharing in one small kitchen and one bathroom. And guess what? No one argued. Everybody got on. It was unbelievable. The timekeeping, how they had to go to work, they came in, they worked, they flipped, they fed. So we were brought up, me and my second generation, we didn't have just one set of parents. We had many, many parents. You know, we go out, we were getting chastised, saying that after the chastisers, that would be going back to our parents, especially my father. He was a very, very premiership disciplinarian. And the amount of beatings and licks I got as a kid moulded me to who I am today. And I give thanks to my father. And I didn't want to speak, but I thought there's no way could I not mention my father and my mother, but mainly my father because of the discipline, the beatings. I am a big believer in discipline. So the things that my father taught me was self-discipline, respect your elders, no matter what colour or creed they were, respect them, it's so important. I do, 100%. I will always give my children discipline and licks, because guess what? I got a lot of discipline and licks, and I'm studying today, and I give thanks to my father for them licks. Because without them licks, I would not have been able to live in this world. I would have probably killed myself. So it gave me strength, it gave me confidence, get me humble, get me understand my passion. So yeah, I give my kids licks, and they're only young. But the thing is, if you give your child licks at the bottom, if you give your child beatings or little slaps at the bottom and discipline them, when they grow up to be big men or big women, they still got that respect and they understand. But the other thing, the most important thing my father gave me was faith. He gave me faith in prayer. He told me consistently about God. And when he came in here in the 50s, he couldn't read, he couldn't write. He used to sign his name with a cross. And we as kids, me and my sister, had to read the Bible to him. And when we read the Bible, he would read it back. And I was 8 years old at that time when I started helping. And I didn't want to read the Bible. I want to play out or do things. But I read the Bible and he taught me, he said to me, son, I'm not going to be here forever, but there's one thing that will never, ever let you down. And that's God and prayer and faith. And I'm sure our elders, after listening to Patsy, have gone through hell and back. And when I was listening to you speaking, I wanted to cry because it hurt. But the prayer has helped me. And when I've been in my lowest of lows, I've turned to prayer. Not man or woman, but prayer. And that's how I can be stood here today to speak to you about who I am, and what I enjoy doing. And that's for me for PRS. So basically for PRS, we're printers, sign makers, we work within the community. We have done for a lot of years, 33 years to be fair, with the organisations, and it's important because I don't want to build up a bank account full of money and then drop dead. My legacy will always be not the car that I drive, not the house that I've got, but what have I done for others, whether they're white, black, pink or blue. But on this occasion, for me, it's about my people. And the reason it's about my people, my elders, my peers, is because I feel in my heart we've had a raw deal, especially in Bradford. Alright, even now, I'm 61, and we still have not got a community centre. So all you people in charge of money and culture, all that, look towards us, because that is what we need. You want the hub? Give us a hub. We need a hub, a good community centre that we can work in, where we can be independent, where we can help each other, along with the different cultures that will be there, and have our elders, some of them speaking and teaching us some of the old ways in the community centre, where we can all come together, whether it be Jamaican, St. Kitts. It's irrelevant to me. As far as I'm concerned, when I look at a set of black people, I say black. I'm not bothered whether you're from Africa, whether you're from Jamaica, whether you're black. And that is why when we infight and we get nowhere, when we do that infighting, I struggle with that. Because when a white person, and I'm not racist because I'm mixed race, but when a white person looks at a group of people, they just see black. So why can't we just see black and move on together and try and achieve what we need to achieve? It's so important. I think I finished that little bit. So that's my introduction on PRS. So thanks Nigel for giving me this platform. Well, actually, Jimmy there is one of our members. And there's only 4 of us. Now, the reason why we started this executive board in Bradford was in lockdown, when Boris and his cronies were breaking the law left, right and centre, so were we. We decided that we wanted to get a few of our friends together and play Ludi. So the ingredients were really simple. First ingredient was lockdown. The second was 4 friends. The third was music in the background. The fourth, we drank rum and coke. The fifth, which is really important, rice, peas, chicken, and throwing some fried dumplings, because we just love that. Okay? And lastly, what we had, Jimmy's there to confirm, we had lots of banter. Now, if you don't understand banter, it's where we're winding each other up on the Ludi board. And then we had a lot of laughter, and we were just laughing and laughing, playing this game of Ludi. So then I decided that if we can have so much fun, and there's only 4 of us, and we've seen our elders dropping like flies, and some young ones dropping like flies all through COVID, I decided that maybe we, the executive board, should form something and arrange a little party to get people out of the houses. Because everybody was staying in the houses. Unless there's a funeral, you won't see nobody. And I was sick of that. I was sick of going to funerals, because I do go to a lot of funerals, and you talk about culture. It's our culture. It's our culture to go to funerals and pay our respects to our elders, to pay our respects to Jimmy's, if it's something to do with Jimmy, and I know Jimmy, I'm going to pay my respects. That's what we do in our family. In the West Indians, we do that, and I've done that all my life. So that reason, we set up the executive board. So what I did then is, when I realised that I wanted to see it, but I knew we needed to see it. I needed to get some of the elders out of the houses, and our youngsters as well. So what we did then was, I spoke to Gary Saran from the DA, and I asked him, I said to him, would you mind if we had a little get-together at the DA for the elders, for the young, to bring them out of the houses and maybe have a little bit of fun? The DA is a Dominican Association, we just abbreviate it as a DA. So he said, yeah, no problem, you can have a Thursday night. Not Friday night, when it had been easier, but a Thursday night. So we thought, we'll try Thursday night, see how it goes. So we set that up. And, 1 second. So then we had to bring in, what we was trying to do is bring a bit of laughter and a little bit more joy, and we called it Unity in the Community. And it started off in 2021, October, and we're in 23 now, and we're still doing it. So, I just want to digress slightly, because this is about Windrush, this is about our elders. And for me, it's so important. Because when I was brought up as a kid, I had to respect everybody. And my elders were my parents, i.e. you would have been my parents. Wherever we went in Lum Lane area where there was lots of our people, we were watched, we were being guarded, right? Because if our parents was working, although other parents were watching the other little black kids and making sure it was okay. Yes, they did chastise them, and yes, they would come up to us and say, what are you doing there, but why don't you? They're always giving us a little bit of advice, and that was so important, because we then felt safe, because we was in a racist town, and a racist country, when we look at what our people have gone through. And when I remember walking down Lum Lane, my father took me to school, holding my hand. I was only 5, first day. I was crying because I didn't want to go to school. But as I was walking down, I did see no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. Now I didn't even know what that meant. It didn't mean anything to me because I didn't understand it until I got a lot older. So just for our own parents to have to walk through that is so sad, so sad. So, going back, that was in the 60s and 70s, the Windrush elders. So we, like I said, didn't just have one set of parents. But me, as a person that's been brought up with a very strict father, I would never ever forget my elders. Never. I never forgot you. Never. I admire you. I've been inspired by you. My life and business career has been born off the back of seeing my elders go through what they've gone through. When I was 27, I went to see my father. And he was a fettler and grinder, doing a hard job. He used to work 100 hours a week for peanuts. So you're talking about you were talking about the house rent, but not only was it happening in the renting of the houses, it was happening in the companies. They was paying the black people peanuts, and the white people who wasn't, no disrespect again, but the white people who weren't working as hard, they were getting treble, 4 times more, and that is so sad for me. So I went in to see my father. At that time, age 27, I was the manager of a printing company. And I went to see him, and he was working away, hitting some metal. And it reminded me of slavery, just hitting this metal with his goggles on. And my dad was black as the ace of spades, my father. And he took his goggles off, and he had all this dust all over his face, and I knew what he earned. And like I said, I was working someone there. And I earned double than what my father earned. And that, I can tell you, hurt me. Even thinking about it now hurts me. But The other thing I realised back then about the Windrush generations was they had to trust each other when they came in this country. No matter where you were from, they had to trust. They actually worked together. Whether it didn't matter where you came, they worked together on a daily basis. They were helping each other. They gave to each other. They weren't pulling each other down. They were actually lifting each other up. Why? Because they had no choice. I'm telling you. Okay. But that is what I've realised about our elders, is that they worked together. Now, somewhere along the line, the second generation, i.e. me and others, we've lost that. We don't understand what unity means, what it is to work together and help each other move up the ladder. If you move up the ladder more than me, it wouldn't harm me, because I'm at peace inside. And that's what I want to see. I want to see our people be more willing to help each other, work together, because that is how we are going to grow as a people. 50 odd years in this town, because I'm like 61 now, and I look to where we are as a people, and yeah, we've done a lot, we've achieved a lot, we've got a lot of high flyers, but we haven't achieved as a group. We haven't achieved in unity. And until we do achieve in unity, until we understand the economics of this world, that if we are not economically strong, we're classed as weak. Until you understand that, or until you understand that by lifting your own brother or your sister, you're actually doing yourself a favour. Like we know, in giving, you receive. And that is why when I pass off this earth, it will not be about, I don't want people to talk about how much money I made. I want people to talk about, did he help me? Did he do something for me? Because that's what people remember. The car's not speaking at your funeral. Neither's your money in your bank. Neither's your nice offices, if that's what you've got. Don't speak. What will speak at your funeral is people. And what have you done for people? That's what's important. So lastly, I would like to thank a few people really quickly, if that's all right, Nigel. You gave me the platform. All right. So I'd like to thank Gary Saran, because he was a big ingredient for us being able to launch the Executive Club, and his team, because they have done amazing. I'm a fussy guy, I'm looking for perfection all the time, and his team has helped us promote what we're trying to promote, which is unity in the community, okay? I would like to thank Carmen and her catering team, because I believe that when I was a kid, every time somebody came into our house, my father would always give them a piece of food. And I'm sure that many of you have done the same. Our elders were so giving. We had nothing, but we gave. And my father was the same. He was always giving. And I saw that in him. So we had to have food at our events. So I made sure that we catered for food, good food as well. I want to give my people the best. I'm not interested in second class. I want the best of everything. And that's what we try and do. So we had to make sure that we got food. And I got Carmen, and she has looked after us so well. We've had so much help from Carmen. So I'm so grateful to the food side of it. And lastly, because our events have got quite big, started off with 75, now it's 200 touching sometimes. Nigel will confirm that. So we needed, in my opinion, a good compare. And none, in my opinion, comes bigger and better than MBE, Nigel Guy. Give him a round of applause. That MBE can go with the Oscar, so thank you. And Nigel is a good friend, and he has another one who supported us. But what this tells me, in all these ingredients that I have needed to put this together, that God gives you the ingredients to bake your bread, but He expects you to do the baking. Understand what that means. Give back. When you give with a good heart, you'll be blessed with a good heart. My father said to me, Randolph, if you want to see good in this world, do good, see good. You will always reap what you sow. And that is, in my life, I have gone through pain, and I'm grateful for pain, even the beatings that my father gave me. Because without that pain, without that pressure, without that stress, without those challenges, we're nothing. Understand that the weak people are the ones that have not gone through pain. The strong people are the ones who have gone through pain. And when we look at our elders, that have come on into this country and gone through what they've gone through, and tell me that they're not powerful and strong, and tell me that you should not respect them right until they go into that grave, and give them thanks. Give thanks to them and give thanks to God. Thank you.